Her heart stopped when she saw the ambulance lights reflecting off the glass doors of the upscale restaurant, flashing like a cruel warning to everyone inside. The luxurious chandeliers above, glowing like tiny suns, suddenly felt too bright, too cold, too distant from real life. Just moments earlier, she had been laughing, pointing, mocking the man sitting right in front of her, a man whose life she didn't yet understand. Now he was kneeling on the marble floor, hands trembling, fighting to keep her alive. If you're watching Kindness Diaries, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you believe in hope, compassion, and second chances. Hours earlier, the day had begun with sunbeams glittering across the skyscrapers of the city, a world of wealth, ambition, and competition. In one of the tallest towers, a powerful CEO named Aurora sat behind her glass-walled office, reviewing numbers and reports like they were living creatures she had personally conquered. Her navy blue dress mirrored her confidence, her red lipstick a symbol of the power she wielded daily. On the surface, she was everything society admired: strong, stunning, successful. But beneath that elegant facade, Aurora hid an emptiness she refused to acknowledge, the loneliness of someone too guarded to let love enter her life. Her assistant convinced her to go on a blind date that evening, a chance to touch grass, as she sarcastically called it. She had no expectations, except to endure it politely, maybe leave early, and go back to her penthouse where silence was her only companion. Across town, in a humble, sunlit apartment, a single father named Marco helped his little daughter, Mia, pack her crayons into a tiny pink backpack. The morning was filled with warmth, morning cartoons humming softly, and the smell of toast burning slightly, the ordinary chaos of a loving home. Marco, dressed in his only decent button-up shirt, looked at himself in the cracked bathroom mirror. He saw tired eyes, calloused hands, and a heart that carried too much, yet refused to give up. Mia had insisted he go on this date. She wanted her daddy to smile more. But Marco worried, what could someone like him offer anyone? He worked as a supermarket shelf stocker, earning just enough to keep a roof over their heads. Still, he promised his daughter he would try. The restaurant chosen for the date was far beyond Marco's world. The sun was setting as he stepped inside, chandeliers sparkling like constellations hanging just above reach. He felt out of place among the polished marble floors and glittering glasses filled with expensive wine. Aurora was already there, posture flawless, her expression perfectly unreadable. The daytime confidence in her voice remained sharp even in the evening softness of the atmosphere. Their worlds collided with awkward small talk at first. Marco tried to hide the nervousness in his voice. Aurora observed him with a raised eyebrow, the slight wrinkle of judgment forming too quickly. She asked about his job. He answered honestly. She smirked, almost sympathetically, but mostly condescendingly. She asked about his life goals. He mentioned raising Mia to be brave and kind. She chuckled, as if those values were simplistic dreams belonging to children's stories. She pointed at him across the table, amused in disbelief that he worked so hard for so little. The elegant earrings she wore caught the light as she tilted her head back with a laugh. The man across from her was nothing like the wealthy executives she surrounded herself with. Marco felt a sting, humiliation rising like a burn in his throat, but he stayed calm. He had endured worse. He excused himself to breathe for a moment, steadying the weight of subtle cruelty still hanging in the air. Aurora waved her hand dismissively, sipping her wine as though she'd barely noticed the hurt in his eyes. Shortly after Marco returned, fate decided to change the script. As Aurora tasted another sip of wine, her confident expression suddenly collapsed into panic. Her breaths grew sharp and erratic. She clutched her throat, eyes wide with fear, her elegant composure shattering in an instant. A hidden allergy, something in the food, struck mercilessly. The world around her blurred, and the chandelier's glow stretched into dizzying streaks of light. Marco reacted faster than anyone. Instinct overpowered everything, embarrassment, anger, judgment, none of it mattered now. He leapt to her side, caught her as she began to fall, calling for help with urgency in his voice that rattled everyone nearby. Kneeling on the cold floor, he tilted her head gently, guiding her breaths, reassuring her with soft words only she could hear, even though she couldn't respond. He had done this before, not here, not with her, but when Mia once struggled to breathe after choking on candy. Those terrifying seconds were welded into his memory, and now they became Aurora's lifeline. Staff rushed. A medic arrived with an epinephrine shot. Aurora's body gradually relaxed as life returned, first in a gasp, then trembling breaths, then tears she could not hold back. Her vision cleared just enough to see Marco's worried face, close and real, nothing like the impression she had constructed earlier. The night cooled outside as the ambulance pulled away. Aurora was sitting upright now, wrapped in a blanket, her hair slightly messy, her confidence drained but her humanity glowing. Marco stayed nearby, hands still shaking from the adrenaline, ready to leave quietly if she wanted him gone. But Aurora looked at him differently now, not at his clothes or his bank account, but at the kindness he gave without hesitation, even after she had belittled him. She asked why he helped her. His voice cracked as he described his daughter, how every day he prayed to protect the people he cared about, how he understood fear too well to let anyone suffer alone. Aurora felt her chest tighten with a new kind of emotion, regret, gratitude, admiration. The world seemed quieter suddenly, like the city's usual noise paused to give her a moment to notice the good she had overlooked. Morning light arrived gently the following day as Aurora insisted on seeing him and Mia again. She entered Marco's modest apartment with a nervous breath, unsure how a woman like her would fit into a place so filled with warmth and realness. Mia greeted her with a bright smile and crayons in hand, eager to show the newest person in her small world how to draw a rainbow properly. Aurora felt something change, like her lonely heart finally unlocked. And if this story has touched you so far, please support Kindness Diaries again by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Your support helps spread love and real human connection. Marco and Aurora spent time together in daylight now, walks in the park, visits to the supermarket where Marco proudly pushed the heavy carts like a silent guardian of his daughter's joy. Aurora learned about the beauty of simplicity, where love wasn't measured in wealth but in presence. Marco learned that not all success was shallow, some people simply lost their way, forgetting what truly mattered until life forced them to see again. Aurora found herself smiling more, laughing without restraint, kneeling to tie Mia's shoelaces like she had always belonged in their lives. Marco discovered courage, not just the bravery to save someone, but the belief that he deserved love too. Right before the final emotional closing moment, please comment below what part of this story touched your heart the most. Aurora once judged Marco for his low-paying job. But that same humble strength saved her life, and her humanity. Love didn't arrive in the form of another wealthy executive or a polished facade. It arrived in the arms of a man who worked through exhaustion, who chose kindness even when it wasn't returned, who held on to hope because a little girl believed in him. Their worlds, once distant like stars on opposite sides of the sky, finally aligned. The CEO who thought she owned everything discovered the one thing money could never buy. And the single father who thought he wasn't enough became the hero in a story that would forever remind them both that compassion is the greatest power a heart can hold.